Right. Welcome to Kiramager, episode 26. Picking up where we left off, the team is having trouble fighting the zombie bachats. Or bit. During the fight, Juru has a moment of desperation where he wished he had massive power to just be able to defeat them all. But as it seems like the zombies are going to defeat them, the power inside them reaches its limit and destroys their bodies, and they just turn into piles of shit on the ground. Yeah. Just disintegrate into dust. Uh, and Yodana kind of remarks on this, like, oh, so they reached their limit already? And Juru calls her on. It's like, wait, you gave them that power knowing this could happen? Knowing this would happen? And she kind of brushes it off, like, what, soldiers are meant to be used. Yeah, literally what you've been dealing with up until now have been games. And Yodana just kind of goes, yeah, okay, that's enough for today. And Tomitono even calls her out, like, what are you doing? If you don't defeat us now, you will regret it. And she's like, yeah, we'll see about that. Nope. Right. I'd like to see if you really can turn the battle around. Yeah, you say that now, but then later when it happens, you're going to be super upset because you didn't think they could actually do it. Meanwhile, Takemichi's big fight against the Monstone, the energy stone inside it overwhelms it and burns out its body from the inside, allowing Takemichi to finish the monster off and get the stone from out. No, the stone burned out its body. So So back at the base, everyone's all beat up and depressed, and the stones try cheering them up, but it doesn't work because they weren't strong enough to defeat Yodana. And if they're not strong enough to fight, then they won't be able to stop the 5 bomb Jimenchi from blowing up a portal to Yodam, the Yodam Empire. Jotunheim, thank you. So Takamichi walks in with the energy stone, and it gives them the idea of like, wait, if we use its power, we can become stronger and rise up like the phoenix to fight. But Juru protests. No, if we use too much power, we'll literally burn up and die like those Betchats did. And even Takamichi admits, like, yeah, that's what happened to the Monstone. Right. And earlier, Juru was also in that moment of desperation of like, oh man, if only I had more power, I could fight back, we could win. But then he saw what happened to the grunts and became afraid of that power. So he steals the energy stone and runs off. And the others don't have time to chase him because the bomb Jimenshi have shown up. And so now they need to go and try and stop them, even though they don't have the confidence. Uh, Garuza and Karantula have a little chat about Yodana, and Karantula doesn't trust her. He's pretty sure she has a hidden agenda and will actively work against them. Right? So far, that agenda means getting shit done. Even when they were invading Crystalia, Carantula was screwing around. So Juru runs off to the shrine where he would go as a kid and talks to the priest and tells him what the truth about what's going on and what his troubles are. And so the priest decides, hey, maybe if I tell you about that shining alien, it'll inspire you. Wait, King Odin, or whatever his name was, Oladin. Hold on a second. So, for anyone who didn't hear, my roommate said, "Sure, Jan." I told her about the show, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, this is just Norse mythology." Now I can hear her laughing because I was laughing so hard. No, you've made me laugh pretty hard, but it was the unexpected factor that got that one. Mm. Well, like I leave my door open whenever it's hot in here because if I turn my fan on, it'll show up on the mic. No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, but she says it was funny as hell. You can keep going. So, King Oladin used to visit this shrine, and he really liked the Legend of the Phoenix. Uh, the phoenix that grants great power to all who visit this land. And feeling inspired by that power, he challenges the priest to archery. Uh, so they fire their arrows at their targets, but they're both equally like away from the center, so it's a draw. So King Oladin decides, all right, what if I hit both targets with one arrow? So he puts the targets in front of each other, and he draws the arrow so far back that he snaps the bow, not the string, the bow. Right. And so he realizes, like, okay, so I went too far, so I just have to not go that far. I have to just not break the limit. And he managed. So he's able to shoot the arrow so hard it cuts through the first target and hits the second one. Uh, right. It's like if raw power won't work, then I need a technique as well. Uh, right, because the lesson was limits are not meant to be broken. Right. The in this case, the limits being like the actual physical limits that will kill you. Which, right, because usually in Sentai, it's like, oh, we gotta overcome our limits. That's usually just in reference to like, even though we feel like we're doing the best we can, we've got to do better than that. Uh, I don't know. Red Light, Green Light seems pretty grounded in reality to me. uh, high school. There isn't one. I just made up a time period in my life. Okay. So yeah, Jiro realizes like, wait, so we can get stronger and have more power so long as we don't break the limit, as long as we don't hit that point where our bodies will burn up from the energy. So at the base, Mabushi and Mori are watching the others fight on camera, and Sayo speaks into hers like, "Hey, if worse comes to worse, tell Juru we said goodbye." And Mabushina just straight up starts crying. But when she cries those like blue diamonds that can be molded into weaponry. And conveniently, Juru sees that and goes, when he rushes in, he's like, "Oh yes, 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 I need these," and he uses them. He infuses them with the power from the energy stone to make a bow and arrow weapon, one that can provide a power up for the team. Kiraful Go Arrow. So, yeah, later. It's like, no, 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 I'm good. You don't need to cry anymore. Now Sheena just stops, like, oh, okay. So, uh, the Jimenchi gather darkness energy to make the 5 bombs that they need. They bring them to Yodana, and she's like, all right, here's the coordinates they need to be planted at. The Kiramagers show up to stop them. And then Yodana starts laughing because she's trying out that whole laugh when you're happy and good things happen for you thing. Because as far as she's concerned, she's already won. But then Juru shows up with the new weapon, like, hey, we will revive like Phoenix is. Kiraful Go Arrow. While Takemichi distracts the grunts, the rest of the team get their power up. Here's the catch: they have the one bow and arrows, so they have to share it. And so that they don't burn up from the excess energy, they can only use the form for 100 seconds. In Sentai? Time limit. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's usually a rider thing. Like, yeah, this form can uses so much energy, it can only be maintained for so much time. Right. Or Fize's Excel form when he went supersonic for 10 seconds. So yeah, right, they got the timer displaying for like 100 seconds. Let's go. And so, because of that, we can for sure say that Sino wasted the most time because she can't aim for shit. Like, it's like if I just keep firing. No, she won't. When Jiro gets his turn, he activates the finisher he didn't tell the others about. uh, so they all take turns shooting out the different Jimenchi. 5 of them, 5 targets, nobody miss. Cena, nobody miss. Cena. Right. So Tommy Tono gets his target is there. He's about to fire. Yodana interrupts him and he times out. Uh, and so the Jimenchi gets away, but then Tommy Tono just laughs. Hey, that doesn't matter. I've got allies. Cut to Takamichi doing a split in a tree. Right. Yeah, no, he's just doing a split between 2 trees as the Jimenchi arrives, so he can take him out, and that makes 5. And that's when Tommy Tone tells her, "This is what it means to have allies." Something that legitimately confuses her. I don't think she's. I was gonna say I don't think she's really been studying humans. She just loves them because, hey, when they scream, it's good for us. Right. All she knew was like, hey, when they scream, that's good for us. Right. But Tokuger's villains were like the darkness of the earth. Yodana is forced to retreat, and Garuza approaches her saying, "Hey, good job," and she's like, "Don't fucking patronize me. You saw what happened." It's like, "No, no, no. I'm serious. Because you put pressure on them, they force themselves to get stronger. That's amazing." And so an alliance is formed. Right. Like, look at what they had to do out of desperation because of you. Right. Right. So back at the base, they celebrate their victory and their new power up. And then Juro remembers, like, oh, right. And he consults Tametono on how trying to score a girlfriend didn't work out for him. And Tametono hides his embarrassment by shoving cake into his face. Uh, so, this week's song is Tametono's song. And, like, they're all good, but this one is, like, really smooth. And like what helps with it is that his song, because like Juru is very generic as a red. He's just very generic good guy. His trait is that like, oh, he's learning along with the team. But Tommy Tono's gotten actual character growth, and this song reflects that. Mm. And so, next week's episode from the preview, it's the movie Speed, but with Cena instead of a bus. Uh, it's the same concept as one of my favorite episodes of Deca Ranger, Deca Red, but on a bike. So I'll talk about more about that next week with the episode. Oh, it's great. Okay, yeah, I'll let you know if I find it. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider Zero One, and Tuesday for more Kiramager. Oh, right. Yeah, there's a movie coming at some point. I don't know when. Uh, I don't know. They didn't show it in the preview, I don't think, so it might not be next week. Might be a few episodes.